So I found this article and it makes a very good point that I also agree with. Thanos was teased in multiple movies and finally was put in 2 films. Even before his final appearance in Avengers Endgame, there was always the question, what's next? The Mad Titan being the villain who defined the first 3 phases of the MCU is what made him so memorable. They tried to create another long-lasting villain with Kang the Conqueror, but after Jonathan Majors was fired, they went back to Robert Downey Jr., only this time as Doctor Doom. Only time will tell if he can be a great villain, but there's already predictions that he will not be the new Thanos, and nor will anybody else. The MCU pulled off a miracle with Thanos after teasing the villain in multiple movies, and they not only delivered on him appearing in a movie, but he became the franchise's best villain despite all the hype. It goes to show you the careful planning they had for Thanos. It required multiple movies to be big hits, and a gradual progression over the story of the Infinity Stones. And once they got to a point where they could use Thanos as they intended, they had to make him powerful enough that you believe he could wield the gauntlet, and he would destroy half the universe with a single snap. If we look at what they tried with Kang and Galactus, their appearances in a movie is just one and done. Those villains don't have a huge build-up like what they did for Thanos. They lost all hope for Kang, so they're pretty much done with that storyline. So he can no longer replace Thanos, nor will Doctor Doom. Sure, he could be powerful, but will it be compelling enough? We have yet to see. There's a big difference when you tease a villain throughout multiple movies to finally create 2 films about that character, compared to what they do now is they make one movie, throw in a villain, and then it's done. What made Thanos such a memorable villain was that he had this long story in the comic books, and his main goal was to restore balance in the universe to wipe out half the population. He was also very intelligent, methodical, and he showed to be a warrior. Doom is a villain that's not going to be built up in the same way as Thanos, because the only setup they have for him is during the post-credit scene of Fantastic Four First Steps. We kind of knew Thanos was going to be part of the story, since the Infinity Stones were mentioned in other movies, so at some point we knew Thanos was going to come. There is a chance that Doom could be a great villain, but the way they built up to Thanos for years of expectation, hype, theories, and setup is what made that villain so memorable. That same strategy doesn't really exist anymore. They're relying purely on the performance of Robert Downey Jr. and the rest of the cast. The thing with Doom is, we'll get him in 2026 and 2027 and that's it, he's gone. Or at least the Downey Jr. version of him. Galactus did not have that long-lasting impression. I think the fans are already over Galactus. We don't get a sense of this great powerful villain looming in the background, planning to appear. That feeling is gone. But does the MCU even need a Thanos replacement? Well, in terms of audience reception, if they don't do the same setup for a big villain, people just forget about it or don't care much. They're not doing the same thing anymore, teasing a villain that is going to appear in a few years after some films are released, and you kind of know his story. All they're doing now is making a new movie, they put a new villain in there, then it's done, and they move on to another one. So if Marvel does not use the same strategy for future villains like they did for Thanos, because the process takes too long, when they finally present a new villain, it needs to deliver in quality and meet our expectations. That means a good, compelling, powerful villain, whether they'll return or not. The whole build-up to Thanos and how powerful he was in the story of the Infinity Stones shows how this is the best villain in the MCU to a lot of fans. Carnage was another villain I really liked, and I was hoping he would last longer, but he too was just one and done. So let me know in the comments, which villain in the MCU do you think is the best one on film so far? Is it Thanos or another villain? Tell me in the comments. And also tell me, should they do the same strategy of building up this big villain that's going to take a couple of years to appear in a film? Or should they just do one film, one villain, and then move on? So that's it for this video on this topic. Thanks for watching. Leave a like on the video, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thanos reigns!